The most dangerous trap entrepreneurs can make is tying your identity to your business P&L sheet and performance. Your revenue is hitting all-time highs and your team is crushing it and you feel like an absolute boss. But the second a major client leaves or the cash flow gets tight or an operational fire breaks out, you don't just feel like you have a business problem. You feel like you're an absolute failure as a friggin' human being. You are no longer the human being you woke up as, and you have now turned your self into your life into a human doing. Okay, look, I'm Brooke Plack. I'm a multi-7-figure entrepreneur and operator who built my businesses from my garage in the trenches doing real stuff. And I suffered this identity crisis last year, and it almost broke me. And the only reason I survived and continue to work 25 hours a week running our businesses without destroying my mental health is I stopped treating my company like an extension of my soul and started implementing an internal system called the identity decoupling framework. It's like coupling, that holds like piping together and stuff. Do I sound official here? Because I definitely don't know anything about plumbing. But if I did, there's like the coupling things, and then the pipe goes in the, okay, that was not a good hand gesture either. And so here we are. But you're decoupling your identity from what is happening. And so today I'm going to break down the exact psychological architecture required to separate your self-worth from your business performance and your success before it consumes you. And at the very end, I'm going to talk about a mirror test. So stay till the end and let's talk about your identity. So you fuse your self-worth to your company's success. When you do that, you're creating a mental environment. We are creating a mental environment, and it's very volatile. And then you become entirely dependent on the daily operational output of your daycare, your laundromat, your car dealership, your plumbing business, whatever it is, just to feel okay about yourself. Your self-confidence and self-worth is so tied into something that a lot of the times is beyond your control, that it creates this roller coaster of emotions where you feel like that you are never enough, never good enough, smart enough, fast enough, ahead of the curve enough. And here is the lie. This is the lie that we as entrepreneurs fall into believing is busy equals worthy. So if your phone isn't blowing up and you don't have 95 fires to put out, or your calendar is not packed, you start to get guilty and anxiety and having some sort of like boredom and like I should be doing something and there should be something I need to take care of. But you are using the business chaos as a psychological shield to avoid facing the vacuum of who you actually are outside of your executive role. And that means you are fundamentally addicted to the busy badge. And if you're ready to drop this toxic hustle culture, click subscribe or follow us on your favorite podcast platform, because we drop episodes twice a week where we really want to breathe life into other entrepreneurs' journeys. So if that's the lie that you believe, then how do we implement the framework to decouple or take apart our business identity with our individual identity? And so what you have to do is you have to shift your relationship with your company. And that is so hard. Like that is fundamentally so hard. And the shift comes from having an emotional attachment to an objective ownership model. So you must start to view your business as an external, so not in here, mechanical asset made of tools, softwares, workflows, cash flows, SOPs. Okay. It's a machine that we own, not an engine that defines who we are and who our character is. So if you go to the lake with your friends on the weekend, no one gives a shit what your cash flow was that week. They don't. If they do, get new friends, right? They love you for you and who you are as a person and how you show up in the world and how you believe in other people. And so we have to start to view ourselves like that. Even though this business may not go well, that doesn't change who we are fundamentally. And then when an operational fire happens, it means a gear is broken. It doesn't mean that we are broken leaders as humans. And so how you re-architect that is you have to reset your daily boundaries. So transitioning your personal schedule requires a strict operational cadence. And many times on this show, I've talked about having time blocking, and I've talked about setting your big 3 for the day. But whatever it is that works for you, you must build a literal blockade around your personal time. So as soon as I get my travel schedule for the year, I immediately go back to my calendar and start blocking off personal time. When am I going to spend time with friends? When am I going to spend time with family? Because if you continue to answer Slack messages at 9 o'clock at night or audit financial sheets on a Sunday morning, you are reinforcing like this subconscious lie that your business requires constant sacrifice to remain valuable. This is an asset to build for retirement. This is an asset to your family to help provide for them, or for you to pay for your home or your car, or it is an asset to you. When it becomes more of an asset than a liability, a lot of the times it has to do with our own identity crisis. And the mirror test is like when you, to survive this emotional shift, okay, and like when your systems start working, because it's going to start working. Listen to the things on this podcast, on other great podcasts, and start realizing that your identity is tied into your business. Once you hear it, you can't unhear it, right? But then the shift happens that nobody talks about after that. And that is what hits home this entire episode is about. Okay. If you realize my identity is tied to this, but then once you start decoupling that and realizing that I don't want my identity tied to it again, you can't unsee that. But first, to do that, you must have the courage to sit in silence without inventing new problems to solve, because you are equipping leaders, you're delegating, you're developing systems. We don't need to create new problems and new issues. But as entrepreneurs, we live in this like heightened dopamine state where we feel like we always have to be like coming up with something new, doing something new. It's the way our brains work. So when you implement your delegation playbook and your SOPs and fire yourself from the daily execution of operations, your calendar will suddenly clear up. And instead of checking your phone and figuring out what else it is you need to be doing, look at yourself in the mirror in the mornings. This is the mirror test. It's that simple. And go, what do I believe? What are 3 values I hold that have nothing to do with work? Okay. Is it relationships? Is it your spiritual life? Is it that you love gardening? What are 3 things that are true about me no matter what happens today? And then that is where true maturity as a leader and as a human starts to arise. And this applies to so many areas of life. It can apply to parenthood. It can apply to running households. But when you start mastering the quiet and dropping that savior complex to rush in and save everybody, and learning to respect the person in the mirror for what you value and who you are, completely independent of your businesses, that is when true transformation happens. And your business is an asset to fund your life. It is not a validation engine meant to prove your humanity and who you are. And if you continue to measure your worth by the size of your revenue milestones, you will always remain hostage to your own success. So today, I'm giving you permission. I'm giving you the encouragement. I'm being your cheerleader to tell you, have the courage, the structural courage to decouple and break your identity away from your work. Drop that busy badge and start leading your company and yourself and your life with absolute data-backed peace.